What's going on, YouTube? It's that same place to be chilling, Mr. A&D. Better give you guys another Raw review. Look, I understand. I look crazy right now because, first of all, I was in the hospital last night, and it was another series. I had a sleep study. Look, as y'all know, the inconsistency on my channel has been bad, and also I have not. That's why you're getting this Raw review today, but the Crown Jewel review was late. I haven't been getting enough sleep. Life happens. I'm a husband. I'm a father. So I was like, I need to, and I'm not getting good sleep at all. I'm not. You can see the darkness in my eyes when I'm getting good sleep. So I had a sleep study yesterday, and it felt good just to get a night's of sleep and uninterrupted and stuff like that. So I had to, for that, I had to make sure everything was out, and my hair had to be blown out because they had everything in my hair and everything like that. And look, that's why it's all wild, like there's not even a neat fro or wash is dried. You know what I'm saying? Like Cornell West type stuff. But in the hospital, in the sleep study area, I watched Raw, and my God, what? Like, first of all, I'm biased because I think, and once again, it could be my biasness, but I think Herbert is about to come back. I really think it's about to come back. And on top of that, Theory he just got buried. It's like Theory is like the Austin Theory experiment is over, and even Mustafa Ali was just like, he got thrown in the hole with that joint too, because Bobby Lashley like a monster yesterday, and like I said, I am on the thing. I'm a huge Bobby guy, but also at the expense of Theory and at the expense of Mustafa Ali and all that kind of stuff like that. Man, look, we just talked about this on the podcast, talking about how Bobby Lashley was talking about him bringing back the Hurt Business, but even more so that we got the return of Mia Yim that's back also. We a couple of things happened on Raw, but it just seemed like a boring kind of show. I don't want to give it a thumbs down because I enjoyed the ending. The crowd makes a lot of this, okay? Like I said, the crowd makes a lot of this kind of stuff, and the crowd didn't seem kind of interested in that. I thought where they were at yesterday. Was it some part in Pennsylvania or something like that? I'm not sure. Was it Pittsburgh? I'm not necessarily sure where they were at, but right now it's just like, damn, the crowd don't seem to be that much into it at all. But we were building for Survivor Series. So I'm gonna give you guys my Raw review from what I saw at the hospital. I ain't get a chance to take no notes because I was in the sleep study and everything like that. But we're about to get on into it. So it's gonna be more of a quick kind of a rundown type thing instead of a more detailed things. I don't have I didn't have no notes. I'm going by what I saw. It opens up with the Uso brothers, including Solo Sikoa. The bloodline it comes down to the ring, and then they talk about how they the best tag team there was. The New Day come down, and then because on Friday they're gonna have a match. Who's gonna determine who's gonna be the longest reigning tag team champions? It's going to be the Usos, right? And one thing I liked about this promo, like the first half of the segment was good, then the second half wasn't, and I'll explain why in a minute. Because you had the New Day on there, and the New Day was talking about like they have the longest reigning tag team champions streak. The Usos was putting them over. They was actually kind of putting themselves over because this is the new age Hardys, Dudleys, Edge and Christian, like that late 90s, early 2000s tag team rivalry between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian for them years is, like when you think about early 2000s tag team wrestling, those are the teams that come up with it. Then you have from 2015, 2014, or more so 2015 going down, it's Usos and New Day. They have it's so many years packed in with it. They have so much history, and they have so much history making matches, and like each one of their matches, even when they was on pre-shows, even when they was on regular shows, have been great, good matches. Especially that they really did it with the Hell in the Cell between New Day and the Usos. That was really good. I'm glad they did that. And but Xavier Woods accuses them of building a legacy on the back of who their family is. And then Jimmy said, well, y'all ain't never had to feel the pressure because, you never had to live up to compete to what your dad was in the ring or what your uncles are to the ring. You ain't, you know what I'm saying? But we the ones. Then New Day was like, hold on, Pressure is sitting in catering every week, not knowing if you're going to get fired. Is building a YouTube channel just so you can get noticed at work. Is putting together the most important 3-man group in wrestling and getting booed for. Remember, it was positivity with the church thing. And so don't talk to them about Pressure, because they both had pressure. I like how this was going back and forth. And he says, but Pressure is what turns, gets him the diamonds. But Jimmy asks about the diamonds that used to be on that crown that Jay stepped to the ground, because we the real kings. We got the crown because he was the king of he said was the king of the ring. And then he said, also, real shit, if it wasn't for us forfeiting that matchup, there would be no Kofi Mania. So you're welcome. Nice callback. I understand something. Remember back when Vince was having Kofi do all them gauntlet matches, but then they had the New Day going through a tag team gauntlet, and if the New Day could win the gauntlet, then Kofi would be going on the Kofi Mania and facing Daniel Bryan. Well, the Usos, they was about to face the Usos, and they backed out. They said, no, we not doing this. Okay? We don't like what you're doing to Kofi. And then they backed out. And he said, if it wasn't for them, guess what? There'll be no Kofi Mania. So I appreciate them doing that. And then he said, Kofi, why don't you just go home, be a dad to your kids, forfeit the match. And he says, so what kind of man would I be if I can sit there and just go home and not show my kids or what they can do? No, we ain't doing that. Then Riddle enters it. This is when it went from a great segment, because they got a lot of history, to Riddle. And Riddle comes out, and he comes out with his bong. He's doing some bong jokes, and then he's like, passing around the bong, hitting the bong, and then Jimmy hits it too much, and then it make too much useless, not funny WWE type jokes. Well, then it goes into a 6-man tag matchup between Riddle and the New Day taking on the Bloodline, Jimmy J and Solo Sikoa. The matches is fine. It's Riddle hits an RKO on Jimmy, but there's a blind tag by Solo Sikoa that he does not see, and then that's when Solo takes Riddle out. The Bloodline win, and that's basically what it was. So, like I said, the first half of the segment was cool, and then Riddle came in there. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Riddle came in there and just fucked the whole thing up. Next up, we get Baron. JBL comes back out on the mic, and then he talks about, his Baron Corbin. I'm not feeling it. It ain't because of JBL, because believe it or not, I actually kind of like JBL. It's the fact that JBL could be a good manager, but Corbin hasn't changed anything. I would even like to see Corbin use the clothesline from hell as a setup. I mean, the end of days is a protector. I love the end of days. I even love the deep six. But even still, to kind of use the clothesline from hell, it's to at least show that JBL showed you something else. He's just happy Corbin with a manager now. I'm like, be better than that. There's been no changes to it. But he goes against Cedric Alexander. Yes, Cedric Alexander, former member of the Hurt Business on Raw. These people been on Main Event and they haven't been doing anything. But now he's there on Raw all of a sudden. And but of course he hits Cedric Alexander with the end of days, and it's over. So I don't know. Like I said, Triple H plants a little bit of seeds, and I think eventually they can find their way back to each other. He did, 225. I call him. So he puts another 225. Everybody puts it at 350. No, he wants that thing to really cook. You know what I'm saying? Back for commercial, Seth Rollins makes his entrance for open challenge for the United States Championship, but then Judgment Day comes down and Finn Balor goes to the ring. He has a bump pick with Rollins. A couple years back, he cost him gold. And so far, as open challenge goes, and the OC come out. And the OC get in the ring, and then he mouthing off to the Judgment Day. And then he says, look, we got to... there's a Rhea Ripley problem, but we found somebody to solve the Rhea Ripley problem. And then they found it's someone that has found the OC. And you see somebody in a hoodie with some Timbs on. As soon as I saw them Timbs, as soon as I saw the butters, okay, And she put the hood down. I was like, it's Mia. I know it's Mia. And I was like, Mia back, yo. I'm a huge fan of Mia Yim. I have actually met Mia Yim before at a House of Hardcore. Because I was a fan of Jade. Because I was a fan of the Dollhouse. I was a fan of her back in TNA and Impact Wrestling. I was a fan of hers. And then when she came to the main tournament, I was like, oh, snap. Jade is here. Then they, did Mia. I have always been a fan of Mia Yim. I always ride for my homie. I always ride for my sister. I do. So, I'm glad to see her back. She has a kendo stick, so I'm beating Rhea Ripley down. And Seth Rollins gets out the ring like, oh, let me get up out of here. We get into the doll moments now. We have Elias taking on Otis. It's nothing really much. Elias has been bland. Since coming back. And I'm like, what was the whole point? I know the Ezekiel thing, it was a Vince thing, but I'm like, but is Elias going? He hasn't sung. He comes out to entrance music. Now I'm just like, what the hell? Are they trying to make a big face? Because right now, I don't know what the plans, which way you're trying to do right now, but Elias is not it. Otis wins with the World's Strongest Slam. Judge Day's interview backstage are upset because they feel as though Mia Yim was not going to be the answer, and she doesn't stand a chance. So Bianca Belair is getting ready to come out for a promo. But then she comes back and she says, look, I won, but all things didn't go as planned. Then Damage Control comes out, and then they start mouthing off to each other and say, they won the titles back. And then all of a sudden, Asuka starts talking in Japanese. But then so does Io. And they are arguing and promo fighting in Japanese. It's great. And then all of a sudden, Io just says, bitch. And I'm like, all right. So Bianca's like, all right, no, it's cool. Because here's the thing. It's going, there was Asuka slaps Io, then a brawl breaks out. And then she was just like, all right, you know what? No, it's going to be war. And War Games. So it's going to be Damage Control taking on Team Bianca. But Nikki Cross came out and attacked her. So there's a numbers game right there. So it's like, so now it's going to be Damage Control and Nikki Cross with one more spot available taking on Bianca Belair. There are theories going around, no pun intended. It could be Sasha and Naomi coming back, who knows? But I think it's going to probably be more along the lines of Candice LeRae and Becky Lynch coming back for Bianca's team. And I don't know who's going to round out Damage Control. But, I just don't necessarily know, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I love it for Sasha and Naomi to come back. Absolutely. Okay? Absolutely. But, we don't necessarily just know yet. Austin Theory had a thing with Shelton Benjamin in the back, calling him Mr. Irrelevant, and then now that it leads to the Prop 2 match, Shelton Benjamin, another former member of Her Business on Raw. He has been injured for a while, but he's been coming back on main event and been winning the matches. And I thought it was going to be like a more of a competitive match, kind of like, remember when they were trying to build up a new Apollo Crews, and he came out randomly to challenge Aleister Black. He opened the door and answered the challenge, and then they ended up having like a 25-minute Raw match in the Thunderdome. That's what I thought this was going to be. No, it was just basically another matchup for Theory to get a quick win after the A-Town down. When we get back from break, The Miz is coming out because he has a match with Johnny Gargano, but he wants to speak honestly about Gargano and the whistleblower he's been calling him. And he says that, it's a blatant smear job. He can't believe he has to defend himself against the media, his friends, and even his own dad. And the only silver lining is that he said that his agent's phone won't stop ringing. He wants to tell. He said he wants to tell a story with real Oscar buzz. And he says that he has lawyers talking about moving forward with a defamation suit, and his PR team is working on a formal response. But Gargano comes out and he says that, your dad's a smart guy. But he says, look, I had to say that I had to whistleblow myself because I had to be a little skeevy to do what I did. And he says that because you're not telling the truth about Dexter Lumis, and I have more evidence about it, and that person that you thought was hired for a defamation suit, I really hired her, and she had a camera on. And we get the camera of The Miz talking about how he hired Dexter Lumis to help boost his career up more. And now, since he stopped paying Dexter Lumis, now Lumis is getting a little bit pissed about it. So now it's out. So now we get Gargano versus The Miz. Now, this is actually a pretty decent match because he does get a little bit more time. But meanwhile, Miz acts like he's getting dragged under the ring, and then he pulls out like this little metal parts of the ring and tells the referee to go check for Dexter Lumis, and then he hits Gargano in the head with it and wins the matchup that way. So after the Miz wins, Dexter Lumis comes out, hits the Miz with a chair, and then he sits down next to him. But then the security guards chase Dexter Lumis out the building. Meanwhile, now we get Damage Control kind of hyping up Nikki Cross, and we get a 24/7 championship matchup. What? Yes, we get Nikki Cross taking on Dana Brooke. This match is not nothing. She beats her with the Fisherman Neck Breaker, but backstage, she's kind of like walking in a trance, and she just takes the belt and tries to throw it into a trash can. She missed the trash can, but it hits the floor. And I was like, that's kind of funny. OC is interviewing Mia Yim, and then talk about, they put her over, and now she, here for that. Seth Rollins makes his entrance on the mic, and now he's ready to do his open challenge. And then all of a sudden, Mustafa Ali is on there talking about some Seth. You have an open challenge. Well, guess who's about to accept it? As he's saying that, he gets dragged down, and you just hear somebody getting their ass whooped, and then Bobby Lashley walks in the camera frame and says, Seth, he ain't forget that you took his championship, and the reason why he took his championship is because of Brock Lesnar, and I already kicked his ass already. And now I'm coming back for my championship. I love how they came back to it. Not that it's like, okay, well, Bobby lost, and because of Brock, and now Bobby's gonna go do something else. He won his championship back. So he's open to challenge, but then Ali tries to beat him up again, and then Lashley just grabs him like, yo, dude, and just throws him along these crate boxes and throws him out of frame. He's like, as I was saying, I'll come back and accepts the challenge. Seth is getting excited and looks scared at the same time. When Bobby gets down there, Bobby just closes him out the ring. The match doesn't get started yet, and he destroys Seth Rollins. Beats him down, gives him a spine buster through the table, gives him the little turnbuckle, the little ring post on the outside. How he runs them up onto there. He's down. Meanwhile, Austin Theory comes down to cash in Money in the Bank. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, on the U.S. Championship? I thought he was a U.S. champion at first, but I was like, on the U.S. Championship? I understand it's the top thing on Raw because Roman has both of the belts on SmackDown, which I really think, like, this Undisputed Championship thing, if he's not going to be on both shows, then you got to split the belts back up. And I understand Mr. 225 is sitting there taking his time on trying to figure out how to do it, but I'm just like, but right now, the United States Championship shouldn't be what the Money in the Bank is being cashed in for. So now he cashes it in. It's Theory versus Seth Rollins. And he goes and he tries to hit a fireman's carry, something like that. It slips out. So now Rollins actually fighting back. They actually have a little bit of a matchup. And Theory's trying to do all these quick covers, but Rollins is still kicking out. And then he hits an 8-count down, but then Bobby pulls the referee out of the ring. Like, no. He's not going to cash in and then take my title back. So Lashley beats down Theory on the floor. Beats the shit out Theory, okay? And then he puts him in the hurt lock. And then everybody has to come back and tell Bobby, like it's over. He blacks out. And then Theory's about to get counted out. But then he gets tossed back into the ring. And then Seth Rollins pins Theory. It's done. Seth Rollins retains the United States Championship. Theory lost his Money in the Bank. Mustafa Ali somewhere still in the back. And Bobby Lashley is a complete monster. That's how Raw ends. And I'm just like, wow. They made Bobby look crazy, look great. I don't know if he's going back to heel Bobby, because like I said, if they want to do Hurt Business don't have to be a heel group. It works as a heel group, but they don't have to be. But it looks like they're alluding to that. They're putting a little small piece of Shelton back on Raw, Cedric back on Raw, Bobby going back to this monster that he was when he wasn't Hurt Business. I think that they may be coming up. But damn, on the other hindsight of it, Theory gets fucked up like that, loses his briefcase, cashing in on a secondary championship. I don't understand that. So thumbs in the middle for me for how Raw felt last night, because there were some boring parts, but I like seeing Mia Yim come back. I love Mia Yim, and I love seeing Bobby has this dominant thing. The New Day and Usos things was good at the beginning until Riddle came and fucked that whole thing up. But post any comments down about how you guys feel about Raw. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed my review. Hit the subscribe button for more WWE content right here on NC Studios. Once again, it's NC and place to be. Children Mr. A&D, and the Nerd Coalition is out.